All right, let's go. For the sake of starting on time, I like starting on time. I appreciate you all being here on time. We will go ahead and start rolling. Thank you for joining this morning. We are going to go through some kind of tips and tricks that I found in Dotloop that have helped keep me a little bit more organized when I'm inside of Dotloop, and some things that will also save you some time. Please feel free to either unmute and ask questions or throw those in chat. I'll be watching both as we go through this morning. But if you want me to slow down, repeat anything, or show you something different, if you've got questions, please, by all means, let's make this interactive. All right, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Excuse me. All right, can everybody see that okay? Let me get the chat window pulled up, get my screen organized so I can see everything. All right, so a couple things that we're going to go through today. I'm going to show you some things on initial setup that can help you just with your kind of your initial view of Dotloop when you log in, some different settings that you might want to think about doing to make your view a little bit easier. And then we'll go into the actual setup of loops, some things that I do to keep them a little bit more organized, adding folders, using the Dotloop Easy Offer, and then setting up some templates as well, and how to do those to save you some time as you're in Dotloop and writing offers for clients. So let's start kind of with setup on screen here and filtering. You'll notice that my screen, my Dotloop might look a little bit different than yours. There's a couple of different options for how you can view your loops. This is my preference. I like seeing the tiles. Something that I do, and I'm going to show you how to do it this morning, is I add pictures in all of my loops. And I found that this really helps me. I'm a very visual person, first of all, and it helps me at a glance to be able to find a loop, find a client pretty easy when I'm in here. But it also helps me differentiate between my loop and the other agent's loop. So I know like you'll see, for example, right here on the right-hand side, I know at a glance that this is my loop because it has a picture. And I know that this is the listing agent's loop down here because it doesn't. So even if we have the exact same loop name, I know at a glance which one is mine and which one is the other agent's. And that usually brings up a question, and that is, how do you operate with, I get asked a lot, how do you operate in Dotloop with two different loops? Do you merge the loops? Do you just use one loop and add your documents in the listing agent's loop? That's kind of a personal preference. My preference, the way that I found it works best, is to have your own loop. And I'll take, as an agent shares documents with me, I'll just show you how I do it real quick. We'll use this kind of as our example. As the agent has shared, I'm in the other agent's, the listing agent's loop now, and as he shares documents with me, I just click on those documents. If you check them, you'll see that these options come up here, and I go to make a copy. I always want to copy it, usually as a Dotloop document, so the autofill is enabled for me. And then I'm going to copy it to a loop. And I've got to find my loop. And then the folder that I want it to go in, we're just going to put it in that folder for now, copy. And now I've got a copy of that document over in my loop so I can send it to my buyers. And then once they sign, I can push it out to title and their lender. So my preference is to keep loops separated. Some people like to merge loops together. I don't like to do that because I find I like my loops very organized. I'm going to show you in a few minutes how I do that. But I like to keep them separated. And then once the transaction closes, I'm typically archiving the other agent's loop immediately. And I wait a little bit, about 6 months before I archive my loops. That way I know, you get those questions after closing. They want their warranty information, copy of their closing statement. I've got quick access to it. So that is one thing that I recommend on setup, is to keep loops separate, add that picture. And I'm going to show you once we get into a loop how you can add that, where you do that. So hang tight there. But before we go there, a couple other things on your setup screen. There is an option over here under the blue add loop that you can tile between. I like the grid view. Again, I'm very visual. You can also go to a list view. When you're in a list view, you can't see the pictures. It's a little bit cleaner. Some people prefer this. There's also what they call the compact view that makes that list even smaller. It kind of looks like what you'd see like in your documents or in your drive. I prefer the grid view, my preference, but again, that's personal preference. Working over here to the left of that, there is a option on how you want your loops sorted. I like mine sorted by the last updated. So the last loop I was in when I log in is going to be right here. It's going to be the first one, and they're going to be in order of when the last time I touched them was. So you've got lots of variations here. Again, this is personal preference. I prefer the last updated because that typically, as I log in, will save me time. What I'm working on is right there at the top. You can also turn filters on and off. I always have my archived hidden. That way I'm not seeing a bunch of archive folders. I've got loops. I've got really everything that's active that I'm working on that I need quick access to. And again, you can change those options right there under filters. So if I need to go back and find something that's in an archive folder, I'd probably hit that all and hit apply. And now it's going to show me all of these archive folders. Change that back. That whatever you filter will save. So every time you log in, whatever you have filtered to the last time you were in here, it's going to default to that. So if you hide your archived, next time you log in, your archive will be hidden. Any questions on kind of your options to view and your setup on your main screen before we dive into setting up individual loops and how to do some things in there? All right, another thing that you're going to see here before we dive in, and I'll show it to you here, is that I've got pretty complete information here on every one of my tiles. As I'm training and I have people pull open their Dotloop, I'll notice that none of this stuff is filled out. This is really easy access, easy view. You know, I can see the type, the status, the price. If I need to change a close date, if I've updated a close date, I can click right here and I can change the close date. But if you don't put this information in, Dotloop is not going to, some of this information is not going to pull over for you. You've got to put this information in. And when you set up your loops, it's critical that you put as much information in as you can. Let's go in now and I'm going to show you. Actually, I'm going to go into loop. We'll go into this one. So I'm in a loop right now. I am going to go to the view details, which is right underneath the address here. This is where you're going to add a picture if you want to add a picture. There will be, if you don't have a picture, it'll look like this. And right up here in the blue bar, it's upload a photo. I'm just going to pick a random photo that I have. It's going to be roll of the dice as to what screenshot this was that I took yesterday. Once you have the picture up, you'll notice that you only get a little strip of it. If it's not my listing, I'll go onto MLS, I'll right click on, you know, the first or second picture and hit save as, save it to my desktop and then load it in here. So that's how I get the pictures if I've not had the professional pictures taken. Couple things that you want to do on this screen for your setup that'll make that view on the first page a little bit better for you is right here you've got transaction type and it's a drop down. So as you're working through the loop, if it's a purchase for a buyer, you'd want to select purchase. If it's your listing, you've got a couple of different options here. Typically, you're going to be using either that purchase for a buyer or the listing for sale if you've got a seller. And then your loop status. This Dotloop doesn't automatically keep this updated. So this is something that as you're in, you can either come into view details or you can change your status right from that main screen. But you'll want to change your status as you go through the transaction. That'll help keep everything running smooth. But you can also do that there in view details. We've got all of our people in here. If you need to add somebody, I know you all know how to do that. You can add somebody right from this view details. Down here is all your gory details on the transaction. As you update your close date, if that needs to change, if you update it from your main screen, it will update on this. It'll update throughout the, it'll update in your autofill, it'll update everywhere. What it won't update, you need to come in and do this manually if you've got a difference in possession date, so occupancy. If you want to add an inspection date in here, you can do that. Most of these dates, once you go in and write your offer, or if you receive an offer, a lot of these are going to update automatically for you. But if you have changes as you're going through the transaction, like on an amendment, they will not update automatically. Once I'm done with all my changes, I'm going to hit save. Scroll back up here to the top, and I'm going to go back to the loop. Any questions on how to use that view detail or how to add the picture? Feel free to either unmute yourself or throw it into chat.
What pictures can you use? Do you have to have a physical picture, or can you copy and paste?
You've got to have a picture saved somewhere on your computer because it's an upload. So it's either a JPEG or a PNG file. So you can easily go, if you don't have, if it's not your listing, you can go to MLS. This is what I typically do, is I'll go into MLS. Let me just find a listing. I'll pull up the listing and I'll right click on the first picture and hit save image as, and this will save it somewhere to my computer. Typically, I just throw it on my desktop. And then I go back over to my loop and I go to that view details screen and then upload a photo. Select it right there from my desktop, open. Now, what you can't do after you upload it is change the photo or, alter what's shown. It just shows this little strip, which is kind of annoying. So sometimes I've got to get a different picture so I can actually, so it's not just all roof. If it's all roof, it's a little bit hard to see which house it is. So sometimes you've got to play with that a little bit, but that's typically how I get pictures, but you can't copy them necessarily. You've got to actually go into, if you're trying to take one from a listing that's inside of MLS, go in, again, pull up a picture, just right click on it and save the image to your desktop or wherever you want to save it, to their folder if you've got a digital folder for them. And then you can upload it right into Dotloop. Did that answer your question, Rick?
Yep.
Perfect.
How did you get into this loop again? You went into your picture loop, click details.
I went into, from the main screen, I just clicked into the loop. And then right under the address are your view, if you click view details, that'll kind of take you all your gory details on this loop. You've got some other options here that I showed, some drop downs here right under where you can change the stat, or you can change the type and you can change your status. But if you need to change any of the gory details or add a picture, you want to go into that view details. Okay, let's talk about kind of setup once you're inside of a loop. I found that I like things very organized into folders. And if I pull open a loop and there's, we get to the point, especially if it's your listing, we get to a point where there's, there could be 50 documents that are sitting in this loop. And oftentimes you pull it up and you're sitting there trying to figure out where the document is. If you don't have them in order of, a timeline, it can get a little overwhelming and confusing. So I utilize the folders. And let me show you how I utilize those first, and then I'll show you how you set those up. So you'll notice in my loop here, this was a list, this is one of my listings. I kind of go in order, in a chronological order, with the most recent at the top, and then we'll work our way down. So I've got a folder up here at the top that's our closing documents. So once I have the executed closing statement from the title company with signatures on it, I put it right into this folder. If there was any other closing documents that I needed, if it's my buyer and I've got a warranty invoice or information, I'll put that in closing documents. I typically try to put this stuff in closing documents that are needed after the transaction, things that often your clients are emailing you or calling you about that they need a copy of. Anything that was executed at closing or after, I'll put in that closing documents. The next one down is my post-contract documents and inspections. So anything that I've received that had to do with inspections, any amendments that are executed after our effective date. I put the order confirmation in here for earnest deposit, the receipt confirmation for earnest deposit, anything that happened after the effective date. I create a folder called post-contract documents / inspections, and it all goes in here. I even put, this one was a listing that they took it as is on the inspection notice. So I didn't have a resolution and I didn't have any inspection reports, but that's where those would go if I had those on a transaction. If I have any repair receipts, warranty information, I upload all of those into this folder. Down here, I've got my actual sales contract. So everything that was executed at the time they submitted the offer is in here. I like keeping them in a specific order. If you want to reorder things, you'll see as I hover over a document that I call it the little cross, but you can take things and reorder them. If there's something that I wanted, if I want the sales worksheet, I want to have quick access to that when I come in, I can even drag it from folder to folder. You've got to be careful when you're dragging though, because if you put it on top of something, you'll notice it now says replace. You don't want to replace, you can replace documents if you've got duplicates, but be careful when you're dragging and dropping that you don't end up replacing. And it will give you a warning if you start to replace. Down here, I've got we had a backup offer on this one. So I created another folder and called it backup offer number 1. This is also how I keep things organized if I'm representing a seller and I've got multiple offers coming in. Inside of their loop, I create folders as offers come in and put the documents into those folders. Once we've selected a folder, I'll archive all of those folders for the contracts that weren't selected, but I at least have them all in one place. So if something happens, things fall through, I know exactly where all those contracts were, and I can go back and easily pull them up to reach out to those agents. I'm not trying to go through Dotloop and figure out who submitted contracts. I've got them all in one place, but I'll create folders as I receive contracts and I'll number them. And then I've got a folder down here. Again, this was my listing with all of their listing documents. So this is everything that was signed and executed before it went on the market. And then the last folder that I have down here is my easy offer folder. This is a folder that you can create. You'll get a link to it that you can then put in Dotloop. It shows up in Dotloop in the supplements for agents that are getting ready to write an offer. So it saves them a little bit of time if you do this. It allows them to come right into your loop, right into this folder, and pull out these documents and pull them into their own loop. To set that up, I create a folder and I usually name it Easy Offer. And if I wanted to make this my easy offer folder, I select this, and at the very, very top, right under here, oh, it's not there anymore. Probably because this is sold. Hold on. Let me make this active for a second. There we go. That's still selected up there. So when you've got it in active status, you'll come up to the top here. Do you see where that is? Set up easy offer. You set that up. And from here, you can select which folder you want to set up as your easy offer folder. That's why I name it Easy Off, the folder Easy Offer, because then from this list, I know exactly which one Easy Offer is. So I select that. This is the link that I'm going to hit the copy on. And when I'm inputting into MLS, there is a space in your input on listings to put in your Easy Offer link. And I'm going to hit save. Don't know if it's going to let me do this or not. So if an agent is in Matrix and you've got this Easy Offer enabled and they click on the link, this is what they're going to see when they come in. They're going to see, the only thing they're going to see is what's in that Easy Offer folder. But they can then take these, it's going to make me log in. They can then take these and copy them over to their loop and use them. To disable the Easy Offer loop, you can see down here now at the very bottom of my screen, it shows me in red that this is accessible. So I need to be careful. Anything I put into this folder is going to be accessible to everybody that has access to Matrix. So you've got to be cognizant about what you then put into this folder. Make sure that you're not putting things in there that you don't want agents to have access to. To disable the link, I can click right there on the Easy Offer, and it brings this screen up for me again, and I can hit disable link. Now, as you're in your loop, when this goes under contract, I think under contract it's still accessible, but then when it moves to sold, look what happens. Easy Offer link is disabled. So you don't have to do anything. It's still sitting there. But as soon as you change that status to sold, you don't have to go back into MLS. You don't have to do, all you have to do is change your status, which you should be doing anyways. But once you change that, your link is disabled. Alan, which part on restricting access?
You were talking about on the Easy folder, Easy Offer folder, that you put documents in there that you don't want anybody else to have access to.
The opposite of that. Don't put documents in there that you want everybody to have access to. The only thing, what should go in your Easy Offer folder is what you would put in your supplements in MLS.
Okay.
But I've opened Easy Offer folders before from other agents, and I've seen a whole slew of documents in there, and I don't think they realized that they're sharing all of those documents. So just be cognizant that whatever, if you're setting up an Easy Offer folder, whatever you put in this folder is going to be accessible to everybody that has that link.
Okay, so question on the loop access by, say, co-oping agent, because I've got that situation right now where I have a listing and they accessed a 4-year-old folder or 4-year-old loop that has parties in it that shouldn't be involved in this transaction. I can't get it to shut off access to that co-op agent.
I'm guessing what probably happened on that is that they went to add a loop and they probably started to put in the property address, and
Right.
Dotloop pulled up an old MLS, an old loop. So in that old loop, was the status ever changed to sold?
Nope.
Okay. That is probably what the issue, that's probably why that loop is still accessible.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you want to make sure that you're updating that status. A, it's for just to keep it clean for you. But B, there can be things that happen, unintended things that happen like that, where people can still access it.
So is there another status besides sold, like terminated, that you can put in there and shut access off to a loop?
You can do terminated, and then you can archive the loop.
Yeah, and I archive them, but they still found it for some reason.
And if you don't change that status before you archive it, it could sit in there forever.
Open.
And then when they're trying to query, when they put in a property address, if they're trying to write an offer on something and they put in a property address, it could pull up that old loop. So
Awesome.
just
Thank
make
you
sure
very
you
much.
change that status before you archive.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good question.
Yeah.
Really
Thanks.
good question. So Patty, to upload the easy offer to MLS, let's go back in here. Let me make this active again in our status. Let me do setup easy offer. We're going to select this. We're going to copy the link. So now I've got a link. And I'm going to go over to MLS and I'm going to go input. Let's do it this way. See if it'll let me. I don't have any active listings right now, so I don't know if it's going to let me come in here and edit these. Let me get the 2205515. Bear with me for just a second. Well, why can't I edit that? Let me just go in here. Okay, so when you're inputting a listing, the very last screen on remarks is where you've got your field. Remember, I've copied my link. This is my link and I hit this copy. So it's on my clipboard right now on my computer. And when I'm inputting my listing into Matrix, or I come back into edit, you want to go to the remarks tab. And at the very, well, it's not at the very bottom, but it's close, under showing agent information, this is where I would paste that and I'd hit submit listing. And now it would show up in the kind of in that middle section, those deep links in my listing on MLS.
I was trying to add it to the supplements and they wanted me to upload something from my computer and not a link, and it wouldn't let me do it.
Yeah, so the supplements are just going to take PDFs. This is, if you're setting up the easy offer, you've got to use the link and the link would go in this field. Don't go into supplements.
Okay.
To do the easy offer. You still want to, you need to do both. So, you know, what you're doing is you're giving access to your supplements. Either they can download them or they can hit this easy offer and go right into Dotloop. But you want to give the agents both options. So don't do one or the other. Don't not upload your PDF of your supplements. Continue to do that. But if you want to give them easy access, put that easy offer link into this field on your input.
So for the supplements that I want to put as the easy offer in the supplements, I have to first download those to my computer as a PDF and then I can upload them, correct?
Correct. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. You do it like you've always done it.
That's what I needed.
Yep. Still upload those, but for the easy offer, that's done in that last screen on listing input under remarks. You've got that field and you copy the easy offer link and put it right into here.
Got it. That's good.
Okay. Everybody okay on that? Let me move this back to sold so it'll disable that link. Okay. All right. So let me show you how you set up folders. When you're in your loop, right up here at the top on the right under the picture is add folder. So if I hit add folder, it'll add a new folder and I can name it whatever I want to name this. And then I can add, just like I would any other time when I'm in a loop, I can add from template. I can browse my computer. Or if I wanted email directly from my email. Does anybody not know how to email right into Dotloop and want me to show that?
Yes, please.
Happy to.
Yes,
So
please.
if I hit this email button, and this is what I do when I get closing statements or I get something from the title company, my earnest deposit receipt, the title commitment, much easier for me just to come in here. I hit this add document, email, copy to the clipboard. So this is a long, long link. I'm going to copy to the clipboard, and then I'm going to go over to my email. Let's find a, okay, here's the email that I received. That's one that I already sent up. We'll send this up. It has to have a PDF attachment. Okay, so most of what you get on your transactions are going to be in PDF attachment. So I go to my email. I'm going to hit forward. That link is on my clipboard. I copied it. Remember, I went right here and hit copied. So I go to the two. I'm going to right click and hit paste and hit send. You've got to get it about a minute or two. I'll refresh here in just a minute, but when I do, you're going to see that PDF right here. So again, you go to select the folder. You can hit add document, email, copy that to the link to the email address to the clipboard, and then you go to your Gmail and find the email that you want to upload. Hit forward, paste, and send. Here's that first one that we sent up. Here's the warranty stuff. So this saved me, I mean, think about how much time that saves you when you get information sent to you, whether it's warranty, title commitment, earnest money receipt, something in a PDF format that you need to put up into a loop. Easy way to get it up there without having to download it and then re-upload it. You can email it right into your loop. What's emailed in here is whatever was attached to your email. So it doesn't send the actual verbiage or email that was in there. The only thing that's uploaded in here now is what was attached, the PDFs that were attached to that email are right here. Is everybody okay on that, or do you need me to show you that again, or any questions on that? I'm going to archive this because it's going to mess up my...
Christian,
moving so slow. Yes.
can you do it one more time?
Yeah, you bet. So if I've received an email, we'll just do this one again. I've received this email. I want to put this attachment, the settlement statement, I want to put right up, I want to put this into my loop. I'm going to go into my loop. I'm going to pick which folder I want it in. We're going to put it in closing documents. I'm going to hit add documents. And then instead of templates or browse, I'm going to select email. And I'm going to just hit this blue button that says copy to clipboard. I go to my email, hit forward, and I'm going to right click and paste because that email address is copied onto my clipboard, and I'm going to hit send. And now that PDF is going to be sent right up into the loop.
I guess I don't know where the clipboard is.
Oh, and the email?
Yeah.
So it'll be right on, you can either click over here on the three dots. You've got reply usually that's here. You can click on the three dots and hit forward. Typically, at the bottom of the message, there's also a button that says reply or forward. What you want to do is forward.
That's what you call the clipboard?
Oh, the clipboard. I thought you said forward.
Oh, no, I'm
Your
sorry.
clipboard, yeah, your clipboard on your computer is just kind of a temporary holding spot. And there's no, you really can't access it. Whenever you copy anything, if I, copy this email address, if I right click and copy,
Yeah,
it's sitting on what they call the clipboard.
okay.
Okay.
So you need to be moving that document. You can't, the clipboard, you don't copy and paste, then walk away. You do it all at once.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, I get it now.
The
Okay.
clipboard's kind of a temporary holding spot for whatever you've copied.
But not for long. So if
Right.
you, if you
Next
don't
time,
complete the
yeah.
task, then you're screwed.
Yes. Well, unless you come back 2 days later and you've not copied anything else,
Okay,
it's still sitting. It's basically, it sits on your clipboard until you copy something else, and then whatever the new thing is that you copied will be sitting on your clipboard.
great. I've always wondered about that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because you hear clipboard and it's like, where do I access that? You really don't. It's kind of a.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions about adding a folder, how to add a folder, how to name a folder? If you want to change the name of this folder, the 3 little dots right next to it, you can hit rename. You can also hit archive from here. Mike, yes, you can do multiple emails if you want to. Are you talking about when you're forwarding that document into Dotloop? I could forward it into, I could do the Dotloop email address and I could send it to the client if I wanted to right from there, whoever else needs it. But yeah, you could definitely do multiple email addresses.
Could you please set up a new folder and move some things, existing things into a new folder?
You bet. So I am going to, let me not do this, hold on. I clicked on that real fast, but let me slow down a little bit. So right up here at the top under the picture is this add folder. So this is where I'm going to click to add a folder, and then I'm going to name it. And then if I want to move, let's say I want to move this stuff into this folder, I just put my mouse here and I click and hold and I can drag it up to this folder. If I want to move it back, I can move it back down.
Can you move that folder to another spot?
I could put this folder wherever I want. So you can drag the folders to and reorder folders. It's just a click and drag. Anybody else have questions or want me to show one of those folder options again?
Christian,
Uh-huh.
I find that when I've renamed a folder or renamed a document, you have to like go out of it to come back to it to have it save. What am I doing wrong?
So if I click here, is this what you're talking about when you rename?
Uh-huh.
If it hasn't renamed for you, just refresh.
Okay.
Try that.
Okay.
I think you can hit enter also.
Yeah. But if it's not, if you've hit enter and it's still not showing up, just hit refresh and see if that works.
Okay. Thanks.
The other thing that you can do when you've got documents in a folder, if you're preparing an offer, if you click on multiple documents, sometimes this is easier to do it this way, especially when you're preparing an offer. You can click on multiple documents and then go up here to the top and hit open, and it'll open all of those documents. So instead of having to do a document one at a time, if you click on multiple documents and hit open, it'll open everything that you've selected. Another little quick time-saving tip for you. And if it's something that, if you're just starting an offer it will autofill, and it'll autofill everything on every document that you've just opened. So let's look at that real quick. So I'm going to add, where did our test folder go? There it is. This will lead into kind of the next little tip for you. So I want to add, we're going to start a new, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out of this loop so I don't completely screw up this actual live loop. I want to go to a loop that I archived. I should not have archived, but I did. Okay, so if I'm starting a new offer, I'm going to add a folder. I'm going to call it 12 Main Street offer. And I'm going to go to templates because I need to pull in the contract. I need to pull in estimated proceeds, all that good stuff. So when you pull this screen up, most of you are probably going to the all BHG KC 2020 forms, or you're going here to offer documents. There's still quite a few documents in here, and a lot of these I don't necessarily need or use. One of the things that I'm going to show you how to do is how to set up your own folder with the documents that you use most frequently. So you'll notice over here on the side, I've got two folders that are called Christian's Purchase Packet and Christian's Listing Packet. I'm going to show you in a minute how to set this up, but when I click on these, I now have just the few documents that I need when I write an offer. I don't need a list of 50 things. I want these 5 things. Sometimes I'm going to need some additional things. If there's a pool, I need a pool spa writer, a septic addendum. But I've put into this folder everything that I know I need every time that I write a contract. I'm going to show you in a minute how to set that up, so just bear with me. But I'm going to hit select all and hit copy. And now I'm going to have all of these documents here in the order that I like them in, because that's how I set up my folder. And I'm ready to write. I've got everything I need now to write my offer. Hopefully at this point I already have a buyer agency contract, but that's where I dump it, is in that folder. But if I want to open every one of these and have it all autofill at once, I can do that. So again, I select what I want to have opened. Right now I don't need a sales worksheet. And I'm going to hit open, and it's going to open all 8 of those documents for me. Nikki is going to be the buyer. Minnie Mouse is going to be our second buyer. Buying agent is going to be me. And I'm going to make Joanna our listing agent. And I need an address. I was trying to pull up an address. I'm just going to pull up fictitious address here. I can fill some things in here if I want to, and it will, whatever I put in here, it's going to autofill for me, so I don't have to do this later. If I know what I'm going to have for our close date, I'm going to put this in now. If I know what I'm going to put for my offer expiration, if I know what I'm going to do for my occupancy date, I'm filling this in now, because now it's going to autofill for me on all documents. You've got inclusions, exclusions, and then if I've got a legal description, I'm typically, we'll just put this one in, I'm typically going to MLS, copying that, and then pasting it right in here. So all the details that I put in here, when I hit autofill, are going to fill for all 8 of those documents. And now I can prepare the entire offer at one time, one foul swoop, without having to go into each individual document and go to autofill and prepare them. I've got my buyer agency. Here's my residential resale contract. The entire offer is sitting right there. Once I'm done, I hit save. It's not liking that I tried to click through too fast. I think it froze on me. That's awesome. But now all of these are auto-filled and I'm ready to share them. I don't have to go through them individually, save them, and then try to remember which ones have I done, which ones have I not done. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
When you create your folder with all of your document Christians, do you need to change that every year? Updated, or will it change automatically? Like
nope, it will not change automatically.
So what do you?
You've got to go in. You've got to go in once a year when all the new documents roll out and switch them out.
How do you get rid of the old ones?
I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you when we go in there.
Okay.
Give me just a minute.
Hey, Christian, it's Amy. I had a question.
Go ahead.
So I keep finding that on the sales contract at the end, you know, where we put our office and our number and all our contact for as an agent in their residential sale contract, I keep finding I'm having to re-enter. I'm having to manually put that in every time, even though my stuff's in view details. Do you know why that may be the case?
I don't, unless.
Yeah, right there. I'm having to like fill it all out.
Having to put all that in. I would go to you.
Okay.
And make sure that all this information is filled in.
I wonder if there's two of me entered or something, because
there might be. There may be.
And then for like our worksheets, you know, the sales worksheet where we'll have our office and KCH and all that sort of thing. Do you typically like create a template for yourself that you just have and download versus starting and rewriting that stuff every time?
I do, yes. And I'm going to show you when we go over to templates how to do that.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. All right, let's go. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody else have a question?
I have a question. When someone writes an offer and I've started a loop and they don't see it and we end up with two loops, can you merge them?
You can. I talked about that at the very beginning. I don't like merging loops. I like keeping my own loop and just copying things over from their loop. And here's why. If I like things very organized in my loop, and so I create folders and I drop documents into folders, and if I do that in their loop, they then have access and can see what folders I've created, can rename them, and that just creates a little bit of a headache for me. I like having my stuff organized the way I want it organized. And I found that when you merge loops or use their loop, you're kind of at the mercy of what they do inside the loop as well. So you could end up with a mess. So I like keeping things separate. I don't like merging. But that's personal preference. That's personal preference. There are some people that always merge loops because they think it's easier. It's whatever works for you. Mary, are you asking for the 800 number for help? I will get that to you. There is, I'll just show you really quick. If you go to, they have an incredible, incredible help center. If you go up to where your name is at the top right and click on Help Center, there's the support number right there. If you go into the Help Center, okay, Mary, I'll see if I can find a customer number. I don't know what that is, but I'll see if I can get one for you. this help center, they've got tons of their training is phenomenal. So I clicked on the getting started. If you're new to Dotloop, there's 13 different, basics that these are all individual little learning modules for you. They've got some great training in here. So again, if you ever get stuck in Dotloop or you're having issues, click on your name and go to the help center. And they've got some great training. Okay, let's dive in. We've got 10 minutes left. Let's dive in to templates. Mary, just bear with me and I'll get it for you after class. I'm going to go over to templates here and show you how you can set up your own folders and some templates for your sales worksheet. So I got here by clicking at the very top of your screen next to your name. There's a little button that says templates. And if you click on that, you'll come right into this screen. This is where you set up your own folders, your own documents. You have one in there. Everybody has one that says personal and inbox. You can't touch those. I wish you could delete them, but you can't. If you want to set up, this is where my purchase packet is. So if I click on this, these are the documents I have in here. I'm going to show you how to set this up first, and then I'm going to show you how you come in and change documents out. So if I'm on the main screen here, after I click templates, I'm going to hit new folder. And I want to call this Sam Agents Listing Documents. So you'll see right over here on the left-hand side that I now have a new folder. I want to add the documents in. If I'm Sam Agent, I want to add the documents in that I usually need when I go list a house. So I'm going to hit templates. This screen should look familiar. This is exactly how you add templates when you're in a loop, right? So I've got to go find what documents I need. So I'm going to click on my listing documents, the BHG listing documents. This will at least narrow for me a little bit, right? I need the fixed commission, the exclusive right to sell, sales worksheet. I need our franchise. I usually put the Kansas broker disclosure in there so I don't have to go find it. Lead-based paint. Missouri broker disclosure. It's my listing. I need a residential input form. And I need a seller's disclosure. And I'm going to put this residential, because that's typically what I list. And then estimated proceeds. Those are the documents I want in my template folder. So I'm going to hit copy. And then it shows me what I've just put in there. I can do just like what I did in my loops. If I want these in a different order, I want that right at the top, put that towards the bottom. I want seller's disclosure up there. I could reorder these in the way that I like them. So once I have this created, go over here to Dotloop. I'm in a loop and I'm ready to take a new listing, and I want to create their listing documents. If I go to the add document and I go to templates, here's Sam Agent's listing documents right here. Here's my easy button. I hit that, I select all and hit copy. And now I don't have to sort through and sift through 8,000 different forms to get what I typically need. And I don't have to put them all in there. I put both the Kansas and Missouri broker disclosure form in there. Don't ever need both of those. So depending on if it's Kansas or Missouri, I might check or uncheck that box so I don't even put it into here. So again, you're going to go to your templates up at the top next to your name. And once you get there, right here in the blue bar, you're going to hit new folder. You've got to name your folder. I have I have three set up. I have my offer folder, so usually the documents I need when I'm writing an offer for a buyer, my listing documents, and then I have a third one that I call inspection documents, and there are 3 things in there. There's an inspection notice, a resolution, and an amendment. So now when I'm ready to write my inspection notice resolution, I've got easy access to those 3 documents. I don't have to go try to find them again in a long list of documents. Before I show you how to manipulate, get rid of documents that are in there and replace them, does anybody have questions just on the initial setup of how to do this?
I'm sorry, can you, I get how you selected them and you copied them, but then, sorry, I got interrupted. I missed how you get them, how you copied them.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So I created, let's go through that with this one. So I just created this folder. I don't have any documents in it yet. So if I want, I've got to select what I want in this folder. So I'm going to hit templates. And then I do this just like I would in my loops. I'm going to go to offer docs for BHG. And I want the fixed commission. I want the sales worksheet. I want our franchise. I want buyer's estimated expense worksheet. I want the one with calculation, buyer agency. I go ahead and put in the Kansas, Missouri broker disclosure. I want residential contract. And I hit copy. And now I've got all those documents sitting in this folder. So I've got easy access when I'm in my loops. All you're doing on this screen in templates is setting up what you want to show when you're in your loop and you go to templates. What do I want quick access to when I go to my offer folder? Those are the documents that are in there. You set that up over here in templates right here. It's set up. I can drag these and put them in the order that I want them to appear. Any other questions on the setup? Is everybody okay with setup? And then now I'm going to show you how you get rid of documents, because like we had a new sales worksheet that just came out in June. And so if you had your folder, your template folder set up, you needed to come in here and switch out that sales worksheet. If you didn't, you were still pulling in the old sales worksheet. So as we get updated documents, typically that only happens once a year in about February. And when that happens, you're going to need to come in here and replace documents. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I've got my, we'll just work on this one. I've got my documents here. Say it's June, we got the new sales worksheet. Let's just pretend this is the old one. I would come in here. If I want to get rid of this, I click right here on the 3 little dots and I can hit delete and it takes it out of the list. And I need to add the new one. So I go to templates and I need to go find the new sales worksheet. There it is, revised June 2020. And I hit copy and now I've replaced the old sales worksheet with the new one. In February, when we get our updated forms, you'll want to come in here. I typically come in here and delete everything and just take 60 seconds and upload it to make sure I've got all the current forms. But once you do this and once you set up these folders, you're going to end up saving yourself a ton of time as you're working through offers and trying to get listings on the market. When you go to add your documents, you've got quick access to the forms that you need and you want. The other thing that I can't remember, I think this is Becky or Amy was mentioning this. The other thing that you can do that's amazing in here is this is my offer folder, right? So I'm going to pull up this sales worksheet. If I click on this, it'll actually open the sales worksheet for me. This is in my offer folder, and I'm always a selling agent when I'm writing an offer. So I can pre-fill out my information. I'm going to show you what happens. the only information that I want to put on here. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go back. So in my template, that sales worksheet is now, it's got that my information in it. So when I go over here to my loop and I'm ready to write an offer, and I go to my templates and I go to my offer folder and I add that sales worksheet, look what's already filled out for me. Huge time saver. Huge time saver. In my listing folder, my offer documents, I would pull up the sales worksheet and I'd put my information over on the listing side. I could even put my title company information down there. If I typically use the same title person, I could probably pre-fill that out. I can always change it loop by loop. But if you find you're entering the same information over and over, just put it in your template. Any questions on how to do that, or do you want me to show again? You can delete an entire folder. I'll show you how to do it because I want to get rid of these SAM agent folders because I don't need these clogging up my Dotloop. So I can delete, if I right click over here on the left hand side for my list, anything I've created, I can right click on the 3 dots and I can rename it, duplicate it, or delete it and it's gone. Delete, gone. Again, when you're in your packet here, you're basically creating your own packet, right? When you're in here, you can delete individual documents by clicking the 3 little dots. I can hit delete. So the other way you can use this, and I realize we're over time a little bit here and I'll wrap up here in just a second. One other thing that I'll tell you, when you're going and you need paper copies of your packet, and you want to print it, and you don't want to have to go through and have to set up a loop, add the documents, print. If I come into Dotloop, and as soon as I come into the main screen, and just click, I go to templates, and I pull up my listing packet, and I'm going to select the documents I want. I want to hand fill these out with a seller. I can go right up here. Oh, I think I can do it from here. And I can hit download and it'll download all those documents for me into a PDF. I can pull it up, print it, and I'm out the door. I don't have to go through setting up a whole loop and finding the documents. I can do it right from the templates. Again, you're creating your own your own customized packet here. Okay, I know we're over time. That was kind of the last thing that I wanted to show you was how to set up those templates. Does anybody have any? I'll kind of go through chat here and see if I missed any questions. But if anybody has any other questions or want me to show anything again, you feel free to put it in chat or unmute.
Hey, Christian, it's Amy.
Yeah.
Quick question. So as a newer agent, I'm always fiddling around with how I want to organize within the folders I create. So which folders, like I'm always like post offer, like trying to mess with which goes where. Could you share like how you organized your loop?
Uh-huh.
And I may miss that. I'm also juggling work this morning on.
That's no, quite all right. Let me get rid of these crazy folders that I created that kind of cloud up our. So I like ordering it I like it being in chronological order from the most recent to the last. So I have closing documents is a folder. So that's everything that was provided by the title company at closing, warranty information, settlement statements, anything that was associated with their closing or after closing goes in my closing documents folder. And then I've got this one is my post-contract and inspections. So anything that happened that was after the contract was written, after our effective date would go here. Any amendments, the earnest deposit receipt is typically found in here. The title commitment, which is for some reason not in here. I need to get that in here. Inspection notice, a resolution. I put inspection reports in here. I put, if it's my seller, and then as they send me receipts, invoices for repairs, I throw them into this folder so I can easily share them with the listing agent or the buyer's agent. Then I have my contract folder. So everything that was signed with the initial offer is right here. And then if it's my listing, this one has a backup offer, so I still have that in there. These are all my executed listing documents. And then at the very bottom, I have my easy offer folder that I'm going to share. So that's how I organize mine.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I wasn't too far off.
No. I have found that really helps keep things organized and gives me very quick access to things. I can actually find things versus imagine pulling up this loop and just having, there's a ton of documents here. If I was just throwing stuff in here, it'd take me forever to find what I'm looking for. All right, any other questions before we wrap up?
Jen, I sent you one by chat, but maybe I didn't hit send. It's Sheila.
Sheila, I saw that and I will reach out to you after class. That is that template is not in Dotloop.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. There we go.